She who controls herself controls the world. Unknown. Sigma ladies, we don't do drama, we don't explain ourselves, and we sure as hell don't waste energy on things that don't serve us. When a Sigma female stops caring, she doesn't throw tantrums or seek validation. She simply moves in silence, and that silence is louder than words. A Sigma female understands that time and energy are her most valuable currencies. She doesn't spend them on people, situations, or conflicts that don't bring her growth or fulfillment. While others may argue, beg for attention, or dwell on the past, she simply detaches and walks away. Her power lies in her ability to remain unbothered and unaffected by things that don't align with her purpose. If you're new here, welcome to the Sigma Lady, the space where we keep it unapologetically real. Subscribe now, because this is where power moves are made. Now, let's get into it. 1. The Vanishing Act. A Sigma female doesn't argue, she disappears. If someone no longer adds value, she won't waste breath explaining why she's leaving. She's already gone. For most people, detachment is a slow, painful process. They struggle with letting go, they seek closure, and they try to make sense of things. But Sigma females are different. When they decide that something or someone is no longer worth their time, they detach instantly and completely. There's no drama, no drawn-out fights, no emotional breakdowns. They simply remove themselves from the situation, often without a single word. This ability to vanish without explanation is what makes Sigma females so powerful. When someone disrespects her, betrays her, or drains her energy, she doesn't waste time debating whether she should stay or go. She just leaves, and she doesn't look back. This isn't about running away from problems. It's about knowing which battles are worth fighting. A Sigma female understands that not everything deserves her energy. Some things and some people are simply not worth engaging with. She knows that her silence and absence send a stronger message than any argument ever could. This vanishing act often leaves people confused, even frustrated. They may not understand why she disappeared so suddenly. They may try to get her attention, demand explanations, or provoke a reaction. But she won't give them what they want. She refuses to engage in unnecessary emotional drama. Instead, she moves forward, focusing on herself and her goals. The Sigma female's ability to walk away is one of her greatest strengths. It keeps her in control. It ensures that she is never trapped in toxic relationships, meaningless conflicts, or pointless debates. And most importantly, it reinforces the fact that she doesn't owe anyone an explanation for prioritizing herself. To outsiders, this behavior may seem cold, even ruthless. But to a Sigma female, it's just common sense. She doesn't cling to things that no longer serve her. She doesn't waste time trying to fix what's broken. She values her peace, and if maintaining that peace means disappearing from someone's life without a word, then so be it. When a Sigma female vanishes, she does so with purpose. She's not seeking revenge. She's not trying to prove a point. She's simply choosing herself over everything else. And that, in itself, is the ultimate power move. 2. Silence as a weapon. No need for insults, debates, or petty clapbacks. She lets people drown in the silence of their own irrelevance. A true Sigma knows that words can be powerful, but silence, that's nuclear. Most people feel the need to explain themselves. When they are wronged, they argue. When they are attacked, they defend. When someone tries to bring them down, they fight back. But Sigma females, they do the opposite. They say nothing. And that silence is often more devastating than any words could ever be. A Sigma female understands that silence is the ultimate power move. It leaves people unsettled, forcing them to question themselves. While others expect a reaction, she gives them nothing. She refuses to validate their existence with her energy. This drives people crazy because they thrive on conflict, attention, and drama. But when they get no response, they are left powerless. Think about it. When someone insults you, they expect you to fire back. When someone tries to provoke you, they expect you to react. But when a Sigma female is faced with negativity, she simply ignores it. She doesn't need to explain, defend, or retaliate. She knows that her silence speaks louder than any argument ever could. This doesn't mean she allows people to disrespect her. She sets boundaries, but she enforces them differently. Instead of arguing, she removes herself from the situation. Instead of feeding someone's ego with a reaction, she starves them of her attention. And nothing is more frustrating to a toxic person than being ignored. The power of silence isn't just about dealing with people, it's also about focus. Sigma females don't waste words on things that don't matter. They don't engage in meaningless small talk or gossip. They speak with purpose, and when they have nothing valuable to say, they say nothing at all. This makes them even more mysterious and intimidating. A Sigma female's silence can make people uncomfortable because it forces them to confront their own insecurities. When she doesn't engage in their games, they start questioning themselves. They wonder why she isn't reacting. They overanalyze every moment of silence, trying to figure out what she's thinking. And that psychological power is exactly why she stays quiet. While others waste time explaining, proving, and arguing, a Sigma female moves in silence, leaving people wondering what she'll do next. And that unpredictability, that's what keeps her in control. A Sigma female's silence is not weakness, it's strategy. She knows that the loudest person in the room is usually the weakest. She knows that the one who speaks the least often holds the most power. And when she finally does speak, people listen because they know that every word she says carries weight. In a world where everyone is desperate for attention, validation, and a response, a Sigma female's silence is her greatest weapon, and she wields it with precision. 3. The unread messages, symmetry. If she's done, your messages are entering a black hole. Sigma females don't engage in conversations that no longer serve them. No closure, no explanations, just ghost mode activated. For most people, closure is important. They need to talk things out, get answers, and end things on a good note. But Sigma females don't operate that way. When they decide they're done, they're done. No long explanations, no emotional speeches, just silence. And one of the most obvious ways they show this, they stop responding. A Sigma female doesn't engage in pointless conversations. If she sees a message from someone who no longer adds value to her life, she simply doesn't reply. She doesn't feel obligated to respond just to be polite. She doesn't owe anyone a reaction, and she definitely doesn't waste time explaining why she no longer wants to engage. This can be confusing and even frustrating for the people on the receiving end. They might send multiple messages, wondering why she hasn't responded. They might call, expecting her to answer, but she won't. Because when a Sigma female decides to remove someone from her life, she does it completely. It's not about being cruel, it's about protecting her energy. She knows that some conversations are just a waste of time. Some people just want to argue, some people just want to manipulate, and some people simply aren't worth the effort. Ignoring messages is her way of making a statement without actually saying anything. It shows that she no longer sees that person as relevant enough to engage with. And nothing stings more than realizing you are no longer a priority in someone's life. A Sigma female understands that closure is a myth. She doesn't need an official ending to move on. She doesn't need to explain herself to people who didn't value her in the first place. She simply disconnects, moves forward, and never looks back. To some, this might seem cold, But to a Sigma, it's just common sense. She doesn't waste time trying to fix relationships that are already broken. She doesn't hold on to conversations that drain her energy, and she definitely doesn't chase after people who have already shown her they don't deserve her attention. The moment she stops replying, consider it over. And no, she won't feel guilty about it. 4. The "oh, that's cute" response: criticism, jealousy, passive-aggressive comments. She greets them with a casual nod or a half smile. Nothing stings more than indifference, and a Sigma female is a master at delivering it. Most people feel the need to defend themselves when criticized. They get emotional, they argue, and they try to prove their worth. But a Sigma female? She doesn't waste her time. She doesn't get caught up in petty arguments or try to win people over. Instead, she responds in a way that's even more powerful: pure indifference. When someone tries to bring her down, she doesn't fight back. She simply smirks, nods, or offers a flat, uninterested, "Oh, that's cute." This reaction does two things. It confuses the person attacking her, and it shows that she genuinely doesn't care about their opinion. A Sigma female understands that not all battles are worth fighting. She knows that arguing with someone who is determined to misunderstand her is pointless. So instead of wasting energy trying to prove herself, she lets people believe whatever they want. She knows who she is, and that's all that matters. This attitude is what makes her so untouchable. While others get defensive, she remains unbothered. While others crave validation, she is content with her own self-worth. This level of confidence is intimidating to those who rely on drama to feel important. Think about it. What's more powerful, reacting emotionally to an insult or shrugging it off like it doesn't even register? The latter, because it shows that their words hold no weight. It shows that their opinion is irrelevant, and that is what truly gets under their skin. This ability to remain unaffected isn't just about external criticism. It also applies to competition and jealousy. When someone tries to one-up her or prove they are better, she doesn't engage. She doesn't feel the need to compete because she knows she is in a league of her own. Sigma females are secure in themselves. They don't need approval, and they definitely don't need to justify their choices. When people question her, judge her, or try to bring her down, she responds with a simple, dismissive reaction and moves on. She knows that the most powerful response to negativity isn't anger, it's indifference. And when she shows that she truly couldn't care less, it shakes people to their core. 5. Upgrading without announcing it. She doesn't post cryptic glow-up captions. She just moves in silence and lets her success scream. One day you'll check in, and she'll be levels ahead, without ever seeking validation. In a world where people constantly feel the need to announce every little achievement, a Sigma female does the opposite. She doesn't brag, she doesn't seek approval, and she definitely doesn't post "big things coming soon" just for attention. She simply works hard in silence and lets the results speak for themselves. While others seek validation through social media posts and public recognition, she keeps her progress private. She knows that true growth happens behind the scenes, not in the spotlight. She focuses on her goals without distractions, and by the time people realize what she's been up to, she's already 10 steps ahead. This silent upgrading isn't just about career or financial success. It applies to every aspect of her life. Whether it's her mindset, her health, her relationships, or her personal development, she constantly evolves without needing to prove anything to anyone. When people try to check in on her progress, they are often shocked. They expect her to be where they left her, but she's long gone, and she won't explain how she did it. She won't detail her struggles or give a step-by-step guide. She'll simply show up transformed, leaving people wondering how she got there. A Sigma female doesn't need validation. She doesn't need applause. She finds fulfillment in the journey itself, not in the recognition that comes with it. That's what separates her from the rest. Her silence is her power. While others waste time seeking attention, she's busy building, and by the time they notice, it's already too late to catch up. 6. No emotional discounts. Given a Sigma female doesn't offer explanations, second chances, or access to those who drain her energy. If she's done, she's done. No bargaining, no exceptions. Many people struggle with setting boundaries because they fear disappointing others. They allow second chances, explain themselves repeatedly, and try to make things work even when they shouldn't. But a Sigma female operates differently. She has a strict no-discount policy when it comes to her emotional energy. What does this mean? It means she doesn't lower her standards just to accommodate people who haven't earned a place in her life. She doesn't justify her decisions to those who don't respect her boundaries, and she certainly doesn't hand out endless chances to people who have proven they don't deserve them. When a Sigma female says she's done, she means it. She doesn't play emotional games. She doesn't entertain guilt-tripping manipulation or fake apologies. Once someone has shown her their true colors, she believes them, and she acts accordingly. This doesn't mean she's heartless. In fact, Sigma females can be incredibly loyal and deeply caring, but only for those who truly deserve it. She's selective with her energy because she understands that not everyone appreciates it. She won't waste her time on people who take her for granted. Some people might call her cold for cutting ties so easily, but she doesn't care. She knows her worth, and she refuses to give emotional discounts to those who haven't earned her time, trust, or respect. Once she decides someone no longer belongs in her life, she removes them without hesitation. No drawn-out conversations, no dramatic goodbyes, no explaining why. Just distance. A Sigma female's ability to walk away is one of her strongest traits. She understands that holding on to toxic relationships or situations only holds her back, and she refuses to be weighed down by anything or anyone that doesn't align with her growth. This mindset makes her incredibly powerful. While others waste energy trying to please people who don't deserve it, she moves forward without regret. She chooses herself every time, and the best part, she doesn't just talk about self-respect, she enforces it. 7. The disinterest that cuts deep. You could throw the biggest tantrum, create the most elaborate drama. She'll just look at you like you're background noise. Sigma females don't react, they observe and move on. Most people thrive on reactions. They want attention, validation, and emotional engagement. But when they try to stir up drama with a Sigma female, they get the worst possible response. Nothing. A Sigma female has mastered the art of indifference. She knows that reacting emotionally only gives people power over her. That's why, instead of getting angry, sad, or frustrated, she simply remains uninterested. And this disinterest is often more painful than any insult could ever be. When someone tries to get under her skin, she doesn't argue. She doesn't try to prove them wrong. She doesn't get worked up. She just doesn't care. She treats them like background noise, something that exists but isn't worth focusing on. And that drives people crazy, because nothing is more infuriating than realizing that someone truly doesn't care about your opinions, your attempts to provoke them, or your presence. This level of detachment makes a Sigma female incredibly powerful. She's not controlled by her emotions, and she's definitely not controlled by the opinions of others. She decides what's worth her energy, and most of the time, drama isn't. People who rely on manipulation, attention-seeking behavior, or emotional games quickly realize that none of it works on her. She's immune to it. She doesn't give in to guilt-tripping. She doesn't fall for sob stories. She doesn't react to jealousy, criticism, or passive-aggressive comments. Instead, she lets people exhaust themselves trying to get a response, and when they finally realize she's not playing their game, they're left feeling powerless. A Sigma female's disinterest is her ultimate weapon. It protects her from unnecessary drama, keeps her focused on her goals, and ensures that she never wastes time on people who don't deserve her attention. And when someone realizes they don't even matter enough to make her angry, that's when they truly understand what it means to be irrelevant. 8. The self-priority doctrine. She doesn't chase, beg, or wait around. She's her own priority. If you can't meet her energy, she won't lower hers. She'll just remove herself. Most people are conditioned to put others first, to compromise their own needs for the sake of relationships, friendships, or societal expectations. But a Sigma female operates on a different principle. She is always her own number one priority. This isn't selfishness, it's self-respect. She understands that if she doesn't prioritize herself, no one else will. She knows that constantly pouring into others without pouring into herself leads to burnout, resentment, and wasted energy. So she refuses to let that happen. She doesn't beg for attention, approval, or validation. If someone wants to be in her life, they will make the effort. If they don't, she won't chase them. She won't wait around for people to figure things out or realize her worth. She knows her worth, and she won't lower her standards just to keep someone around. This mindset applies to all aspects of her life: relationships, friendships, career choices, and personal growth. A Sigma female moves with purpose. She invests in herself, her dreams, and her peace of mind. She doesn't waste time on people who don't appreciate her presence. Some may see this as arrogance, but it's not. It's a deep understanding that her energy is valuable, and she refuses to waste it on those who don't reciprocate. She holds herself to a high standard, and if someone can't match that, she simply lets them go. The truth is, a Sigma female is not for everyone. She is intense, independent, and self-sufficient. She doesn't need constant reassurance or emotional hand-holding, and because of that, she intimidates people who are used to playing emotional games. But she doesn't care. She's not here to shrink herself for others' comfort. She's here to grow, evolve, and thrive. And if someone can't keep up, that's their problem, not hers. She walks away from situations that no longer serve her, not because she's heartless, but because she knows her time is precious. And if prioritizing herself means leaving certain people behind, she'll do it without hesitation. Because at the end of the day, a Sigma female knows one thing for sure: she is the main character in her own life, and she refuses to live it for anyone else. 9. Letting success speak for itself. Revenge. Proving people wrong. That's a waste of time. A Sigma female doesn't try to convince anyone. She just levels up, and the results speak for themselves. In a world obsessed with proving a point, a Sigma female takes a different approach. She doesn't waste time trying to change people's opinions about her. She doesn't engage in petty back and forths to prove her worth. Instead, she focuses on one thing: winning in silence. She lets her actions, her growth, and her success do the talking. While others waste time arguing, explaining, and seeking validation, she's busy building. She's setting goals, working hard, and leveling up in every way possible. And then, one day, the people who doubted her, underestimated her, or tried to bring her down look up, and she's far ahead of them. She doesn't need to say, "I told you so." Her success says it for her. This is what makes a Sigma female so powerful. She understands that true revenge is living well. Instead of getting caught up in negativity, she channels her energy into something productive. She doesn't dwell on past betrayals, criticisms, or setbacks. She uses them as fuel to push herself further. She knows that people who try to bring her down are often just projecting their own insecurities, so instead of fighting back, she ignores them and keeps moving. Because at the end of the day, the best response to doubt and negativity is undeniable success, and when people finally realize they were wrong about her, it's too late. She's already out of reach. 10. Apathy. Over anger. Anger is emotional investment, and she doesn't invest in things that don't deserve her. Instead of being mad, she simply stops caring. And when a Sigma stops caring, game over. Anger is a reaction. It requires energy, attention, and emotional involvement. But a Sigma female knows that not everything deserves that kind of investment. Instead of getting mad, she disengages. Instead of fighting battles that don't matter, she walks away. This is what makes her so dangerous. She's not driven by revenge, resentment, or the need to prove a point. She's driven by her own peace, and if something disrupts that peace, she doesn't waste time trying to fix it. She simply removes it from her life. When someone disrespects her, she doesn't scream or argue. She just stops caring, and that is far more powerful than any emotional reaction. Because when a Sigma female stops caring about you, you no longer exist in her world. This level of detachment is rare, which is why it's so unsettling to people who thrive on drama. They expect a fight, a reaction, an emotional response, but they get nothing. Just a cold, unbothered exit. A Sigma female knows that anger binds you to the thing you hate, and she refuses to be bound to anything that doesn't serve her growth. So instead of holding on to grudges, she lets them go. Instead of fighting battles that drain her energy, she walks away. And instead of allowing negativity to control her emotions, she masters them. When a Sigma female stops caring, she doesn't come back. She doesn't second-guess her decision. She moves on, stronger and more focused than ever, and that's what makes her truly unstoppable. Sigma ladies, remember, power isn't in proving a point, it's in walking away without needing to. Keep moving in silence, keep prioritizing yourself, and keep showing the world that your energy is a privilege, not a right. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to seek validation, and you definitely don't need to waste your energy on things that don't serve your growth. You are your own priority, and the moment you embrace that fully, you become unstoppable. If you found this video valuable, subscribe to the Sigma Lady, because here we don't follow trends, we set them. See you in the next one.